Stone sculptor Karen Heyl found a new career and a late calling when she picked up her first chisel in her 30s. Now her work can be seen on buildings, cityscapes, and parks across the United States of America. Let's take a look.
I never saw myself as a stone sculptor or any kind of a sculptor. So when my kids went to school, I decided to go to the Art Academy here in Cincinnati, and it was there that I was introduced to stone sculpture, and I was in my 30s at that point. I think what attracted me to stone carving and what I saw in it was that not only was it a challenge mentally, but physically. I went home tired, and I still do go home tired from the physicality of doing stone sculpture. Most of what I do in bas-relief stone carving is commissioned work. It's from either corporate America, hospitals, or people's private homes. My greatest joy comes from when they just say, do what you do. And then I can give them a narrative about what they're talking about based on natural forms that I gather from nature, flowers, leaves, even animals, birds.
To begin the process, Karen sees the piece in her mind and then must put it on paper for her clients.
My drawings are pathetic sometimes because I see it, but I can't put it on paper. That's not my medium. Chisel and stone is my medium. Once I have the drawing, I grid the drawing. It's a scaled drawing to match the size of the stone, and I transfer that drawing to the stone. And then I begin carving. I just take the edge of the chisel and I start outlining the form. Say it's a bird. It'll be like a scratch in the surface where I outline that form. That's gonna pop forward. That's the part that's gonna stick out. So everything surrounding that bird has to come off. Then there's a leaf. Then I have to take everything around that leaf off without losing the other leaves. This is thinking three-dimensionally, so you have to know which things are coming forward and which things are staying back. When I make a mistake, nobody knows it because a leaf can be just about any kind of shape you want to make it. The tools that I use now are all pneumatic, but when I began carving, it was all hammer and chisel like they did in the olden days, but it takes forever to get a piece finished. And so I was introduced into pneumatic tools with a special hammer that's a very small version of a jackhammer in a street. So only the chisels don't lock in. You hand hold both pieces and you guide it. So you're working both hands, both arms at the same time. And you control the amount of pressure that comes through that air hose so you don't take off too much, or you can take off more by having more pressure come through. My stone that I use mostly at this point in my life is Indiana limestone. Most of it comes from Bedford, Indiana. I choose limestone, number one, because it's available. Number two, because it's soft. Number three, it wears well outdoors. And number four, it forces me to put a really good design in it.
SD1, Northern Kentucky's wastewater and stormwater utility, is using art to educate people about our precious resource, water. They commissioned Karen to create 3 sculptures: Water, Gift of the Earth; Water, Source of Life; and Water, Sculptor of the Land.
I actually went down to the quarries and I found these huge cores of stone that are probably 36 inches across. And I thought, wow, what are these? And they said, oh, that's just garbage. Those were core samples. They were each 5 feet tall, so we cut them in half. So we had these 4 pieces, and then there was going to be a fountain, so we had to core the centers out. So the title comes from Water, Sculptor of the Land, which the water cuts through the earth and reveals the fossils, which tells the history of the land, how many millions of years ago. And the fossils, some of them were carved, some of them were made out of terracotta clay, and that was a project I worked in collaboration with Alan Nairn, who is a Cincinnati potter now working at the Rookwood Pottery.
Having worked with stone for years, Karen has taken on a new medium: clay.
I had no idea what I was doing in clay, so I thought, how can I make clay more a part of me and me a part of the clay. So all of a sudden one day it just came to me, why not carve the clay? And then I found out too, because I have essential tremor, that I can't throw and pull clay. I can't throw clay because my hand shakes the whole way up. So I hire somebody to throw a basic vessel for me. And then I embellished it. I add the handles, the decorative handles to it. I add the stuff that make the beak. I focused on pictures. And then the pictures reminded me of birds. So now all I do are these vessels in clay that are birds. And once I figured that out, and I liked that I had this carved clay vessel, then I thought, something's not right. So then I decided I'll carve a base for it out of limestone. So then I brought my stone carving back into it. So now I'm conflicted between carving and making clay. But I found a way to keep the stone carving into my life by creating these vessels. So that's how that all got started. And right now the clay vessels are just occupying all my time. I can't imagine not doing this. I mean, the only way I won't do this is if I'm dead, because this is what I feel like I was born to do. It is my passion, and I think that's what my legacy is, to just fulfill your dreams by doing your passion, follow your bliss.